Oh, hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mini Mayhem, and this is another episode of the Music Mayhem Show. And I am filming this exclusively just for YouTube, but I do stream on Twitch if you want to check me out. My link is in the bio. Give me a like, give me a follow here on YouTube, and I will appreciate that very much. I'm just getting started. And today, for the Music Mayhem episode, I'm only going to film the Makeup Mayhem section rather than go through other different segments such as the Mayhem Mixtape where I talk about music, or Mayhem Arcade where I play video games, or the Mayhem Files where we discuss the paranormal and the spooky and take a look at some UAP videos as well. So let me go ahead and get my stuff ready, and then we're going to share the timer and we're going to get started. So come get ready with me. Alrighty, so I'm sharing my screen with you. And as you can see, the timer for the 20-minute makeup is down below at the bottom. And I've already prepared my face in advance. And I'm going to run through this as quick as humanly possible. We'll see whether or not I make it through to the 20-minute timer. I already have moisturizer, so I use Freya. It is like basically kind of like an oily sort of balm because I have really dry skin. And I do have some under eye circles. I look like a haunted Victorian lady. So my first product that I am going to use today is going to be my foundation, and instead of using a full coverage foundation, I am going to use the Tinted Matte Moisturizer. So let's go ahead and start that timer. All right, so I'm just going to give this a shake, and I'm going to pump it out onto my hand, which is the best way to apply it. And it's tinted moisturizer, so a lot goes a little way. And then what I'm going to do is take my beauty blender, and then I'm just going to dab into the palm of my hand, and then I'm going to staple this on my face. It doesn't have to be super specific at first. I tend to just kind of go wherever. So. And like I said, I'm in a three-piece rock band. I would have to say my top three favorite bands are, I would say Tool for sure, and Black Sabbath for sure. And number three is kind of wavered off and on throughout the years. It just kind of depends, I think, honestly, how I feel. Maybe it's easier to do a top five for me. I'm a musician, so I've been a musician my entire life. I started playing musical instruments back when I was in like grade school, so fifth grade, sixth grade, something like that. I played the flute for a few years, and then I played the saxophone for about 6 years, off into college. And then when I was in my early 20s, I gave up the saxophone and the alto saxophone, sorry. And I transitioned to electric guitar. I played that for a couple years. Just have to move that a little bit out of the way. And then I'm going to hit my cheeks a little bit more. And this stuff, like, it looks very wet going on, but like once I blend it in, you'll see that it's got a pretty matte finish. Okay. I think that is good. I'm just going to hit my chin more. All right, so let me wipe off the excess off of my hand. And then I'm going to grab a mirror, and I'm going to get a little bit more specific and start blending it in a little bit more. I really like this stuff because it's very moisturizing, and I think it gives me like a pretty decent foundation without having to put on foundation. Especially if I'm just running errands or going to lunch or something like that. So after I played guitar for a couple of years, I went through kind of like a bit of a difficult personal time, and I bought myself a bass guitar. and I haven't really looked back since. I did start playing drums during COVID, though. That was my lockdown activity. And I'm just going to hit my eyelids really quick, kind of prime them a little bit. Alrighty. So that is blended in pretty well. I have a pretty even skin tone from that. And the next bit that I'm going to do is my eyebrows really quick. I use NYX Brow Gel in black. And I'm just going to very lightly brush this on my eyes. And like you see, I have the mirror angled down a little bit while I'm brushing up. And I'm trying not to hit my forehead or anything with the gel color, because then I'll have to like blend it back in. And I have pretty dry skin, so it's nice actually sometimes to, if I want to do a full foundation look, if I want to do a full makeup look, I will put on the Tinted Matte Moisturizer underneath my foundation, and it'll kind of give me that extra hydration. Because although I drink a lot of water, sometimes my skin is just super dry. It's been a very dry summer. Alright, so you can see, did one of my brows. I'm going to do a couple little tips and tricks and make them look a little bit better here in a second. Let me do my other one. And again, I'm just kind of brushing up just very lightly. I'm very lightly coming in contact with the applicator to my brows. And I'm just trying to give myself like a little bit of coverage. Don't need to go overboard, obviously, because this is not a full makeup look. This is just a quick 20 minutes and go. And my right one always fills in better than my left one. Usually just try to match them up as much as humanly possible, but it really doesn't have to be an exact science either, so. All right, there we go. Take a sip of my coffee real quick. I only have 13 minutes left. Next, I'm going to do my under eye concealer. So, like I said, I do have these dark rings under my eyes. I look like a haunted Victorian woman. And the best that works for me, because I have fair to light skin, is peach. And if you are darker toned, I would go with more of like an orange or like a dark peach. And I'm just going to put this into the hollows ever so carefully. And then I'm going to blend that in with a clean finger. And just make sure I just kind of stay in the hollows area. It's okay to go underneath your, right underneath your brow or lash line, sorry. But I wouldn't try to bring it out any further because it can pigment the skin and then cause kind of basically some spottings. But you see like my under eyes are already starting to disappear. And there we go. See, looking better already. Looking more and more human as I go along. And then I'm going to use my Tarte Shape Tape, And then I'm going to use my Tarte Shape Tape in Fair Light Neutral as a concealer for my under eyes. And I'm just going to draw just a little bit, not a whole lot. A little bit goes a long way. It's a very thick formula. And then I'm once again going to blend that in with my fingertip. And as I'm doing my under eye, I'm going to bring it out onto my nose a little bit. So give my nose a little bit of highlight, put a little bit of highlight in between my eyes. And then just kind of blend that down to my nose a little bit. And I'm just lightly tapping it in for now. Doesn't have to be super exact, but you see like my under eyes are much brighter already. I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Just taking care to blend that out to my nose a little bit. And I don't want to go too outward with it. I don't want to go further than the corner of my eye. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's like where the light catches. Alrighty, there we go. I'm going to expect a little bit of creasing, and I'm going to go ahead and touch that up like when I have time, but you can see the concealer's blended in pretty well. Like I feel like it's better on this side than this one. Voila! Up next, I am going to use contour. So I have Sephora contour in Fair to Light. I usually do cream contour and cream blush. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just draw like a small little arrow, if you will. And that's going to trace down like the hollow of my cheek, but bring it up so that I have like a little bit of an uplift. So let's do this side first. So you see that? Pretty small triangle. And then I'm going to do underneath my jaw. And then I'm going to take my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Complexion, and then I'm going to buff this out really quick. It's definitely harder to maneuver this with headphones on for sure. So I'm not going to go beyond the hollow of my cheek. And then some of the blush that I'll put on will cover some of this contour. All right, get my hair stuck in it. Okay, so as you can see, it kind of creates a bit of a slimming effect and a little bit of an uplift. Next, I'm going to do my blush. I use CoverGirl in Toasted Chai. I'm going to hit my upper cheekbone. Little goes a long way. Oops. You mess up, just make the same on the other side. And then I'm going to take my rounded blush brush, and then I'm going to buff that in. Okay, there we go. So I got a little bit of color back on my face, and everything is pretty much ready to do setting powder on my face, except for a little bit of extra highlighter. So let me show you really quickly what I do. Is I do a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit there. Actually here too. And then I'm going to blend this in with the other side of my Hollywood complexion brush and just dab it in really quick. Again, I'll take my finger and then dab it in with the rest. And what that does is it helps smooth out the edges a little bit of some of the contour. And it looks a little bit more natural. Alrighty. There we go. So I got about 5 minutes left, so I am going to do my eyes. And I'm going to use the Gen C Liquid to Matte Eyeshadow in Linen is the color that I'm going to use today. I have another one in Shroom, but it's a little bit dark, and like I want to just kind of go with like a little bit more of a natural look. So the stuff dries really quick, so I'm going to just put it on the first eyelid. And then I'm going to blend this in really quick before I move on to the next one. And this is like a really good neutral color, and it would be great as an eyeshadow base as well, so like a base color. So if you want to do a little bit of eye contouring or add a smoky eye effect or something like that. I like it alone because it kind of wakes up my eyes a little bit. And like I said, it's, you know, kind of a bit more of like a natural kind of appearance. So let me do my other side. And you see, I don't really apply a whole lot if I'm just going to do my under eye, or my under eye. I don't really apply a whole lot if I'm just going to do my eyelid, rather than fan it out. Whoa. All right, and then I'm going to blend in this side. If you want to leave a comment, tell me some of your favorite products, or maybe even some of your favorite bands. All you music lovers out there. Let me get rid of my eye boogers. Okay, and there we go. And then I'm going to do my under eye very quick to just add like a little bit of definition. And I use, whoops, dropping the cap. I use the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in Endless Cacao, and I'm just going to do underneath my eyes a little bit. See how it's like really subtle, but it adds a little bit. I'm do my other eye. And I only go to about the middle of my eye. I don't go past it all the way to the corner because I find that it makes my eyes look a little bit smaller. And my eyes are a little close together too, so if you do lighter colors on the inner corners, it creates an effect where it pushes your eyes out a little bit. Makes them a little bit further spaced. Running out of time. I might go over. I'm going to do my Lancome Cils Booster Mascara Primer. And I find that when I look down, it's easier to do. Trying to find my mascara. And I think I'll only have enough time to get one eye done. But I'm pretty much almost done. The only thing I have to do is just finish up my mascara, throw on a little bit of lip gloss or lipstick or something like that, and also do some setting spray, which I will show you shortly. So I'm just grabbing and just kind of wiggling and pulling on these lashes, trying to separate them out a little bit, give a little bit of definition. And I am about 20 seconds away from being done. Actually, I'm about 2 minutes from being done, so maybe I should call it 22-minute makeup. I like the challenge, though, trying to get it done in 20. And time is up on the timer. Okay, so you see I just did like a little bit of mascara. Didn't go super overboard or anything like that. Let me go ahead and snooze that timer. Technically, I stopped the timer, but whatever. And then let's go ahead and do the other side real quick. And I like to put my mascara primer on, and then while it's still mostly wet, which is pretty much immediately, to apply the mascara. I've always found that like looking down into the mirror really helps, rather than looking straight on. Since we're over on time, might as well take my time on my mascara so I don't poke myself in the eye. There we go. All right. So that is pretty much it for my mascara, for my makeup, uh, for my contour, for my blush. I did color corrector peach for my under eye circles. Primed and mascared my eyelashes. And then last, before I do my lips, I am going to set it all, lock it all into place with my Urban Decay All Nighter. And I just spray that onto a puff, and I gently just go over my face with it. And this is meant to just basically lock in your makeup. I'm just patting lightly, not going super crazy with it. Switch hands here. I'm a little bit more adept at my left hand for sure, because I'm left-handed. I'll do one final spray for my forehead. I didn't hit it the first time. And I'm just going to lightly tap on my forehead as well. And I find like a lighter makeup look definitely works better for us more mature ladies, because it doesn't settle into the fine lines as much. Alrighty, there you have it. So I think my makeup looks pretty decent at this point. So I'm going to just wipe off the extra product off of my lips. And then I'm going to add a little bit of lip color. I use the House Labs Le Monster Lip Crayon, and I believe this color is Mocha Matte. And I figured since I have a little bit of red on my shirt, I might as well do that. So I don't go super crazy overboard with my lips. I'll just purse those together. And then for a top coat, I'm going to use NARS Afterglow Lip Balm. And it kind of gives it like a little bit of a gold sparkle. And it hydrates. And there you have it. So it was makeup in more like, let's be fair, 25 minutes. But I'm ready to run errands. I'm ready to go grab lunch with a friend or my boyfriend or my son if he's in town, ready to take on the day. So go ahead and give me a like and a follow if you like my content. Check me out on Twitch as well. Like I said, I stream on Twitch as well under the name Music Mayhem Show. And I want you guys all to take care and stay cool and rock on.